Welcome into the Bobby Carpenter Show, and excited everybody back. Excited to be back, Schlegs, from the Buckeye Cruise, the 18th edition. And boy, it was a fun one. We had a great time. Bunch of new young dudes on there. Schlegs always says how much he loves the new young dudes. So we had a bunch of those guys there rolling in there, having a good time, getting a chance to communicate with them and watching them get to put their best foot forward. Ryan was on the boat. He's been doing a great job since he's been coming on their Schlegs, for a number of years. So very excited about him being on there. Before we kind of get going, any takeaways you get here? We'll do a lot of stuff on the cruise and some of the different guys, things there, but it was the 18th one. Buckeyes, and as we try to figure this out, Schlegs, you tell me what your favorite part of the boat was this year.
All right, here we go. Favorite part of the ship. It was the national championship. And again, Bob, we were there. I was there in 2014 when we did this. It was really special. I'll let you talk about all the young guys that were on it. But here's the deal. When you see people that, hey, here's $250,000, here's $1 million, here's what we raised in the auction night that was over $1 million, and accumulatively throughout the year, raised $4.5 million. I think now somewhere in the world of like 44 million plus that the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer has raised that goes back to the James Cancer Hospital and the research that goes on there. And we had Dr. Cohen on there. The interim should not be the interim, but the CEO of the James. We had Dr. Bean, who came over here from Indiana, and his wife on, and being able to see us as cruisers, people that are philanthropic and want to give back with time, talent, and treasure, like giving back, and how he's like, no, listen, I'm going to be a great steward of this money and we're going to do some great things with it. But he gets to see it, right? Like where the magic happens. And truly, Bob, like this, and we talk about it in the Woody, you win with people. We talk about it, and it's the brotherhood. We talk about building a community and a family. And over 18 years that we've been going on this, I have an 18-year-old. Right? I have a 17-year-old daughter that I bring on the cruise so that her and her friend can serve while on there because they need to see what it means to give back, and also like parenting, right? Have conversations with people and look people in the eye, because you never know who you're going to meet on there, which always blows my mind. But it was just great to get together, and there were some really funny things that transpired on it. But every time you walk away, I was talking to Chris Quinn, who is an integral part and travel partners that put this on. And it's almost like you need that reset. The cruise is like a reset and a perspective as to everything that you do throughout the entire year. AJ has an event that we released, will be a Halloween theme. I already know my costume, Macho Man Randy Savage this year. 1,000%, I'm going to be that guy. But again, everybody's doing their part, raising the funds that all go back to the James Cancer Hospital. And it's a great time to fellowship with other Buckeye former players, all different sports, but also with the cruisers that are on it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And so we've been doing this a long time now. And anytime you have, like you said, after the national championship, it's always a lot of fun. And because you get that feel like the winning. And when you're sitting there watching Ryan up on stage, having that talk and the dialogue and the monologue of everything that's going on. And in the background, there is the big golden phallic symbol, the national championship trophy, which is awesome to sit there and see. And so like that's the omnipresent reminder that this team was the best last year. And all the guys that went last year were all national champions. All the guys that went
Talk about that.
were all national champions. And so like to see them, and to come full circle where, Jack Sawyer and JT, and I'm trying to think who the hell else was on last year. It was Ty Hamilton. Ty Hamilton. I want to say was on. It was Ty Leak, maybe not Ty Hamilton. I don't know. I mean, there was a lot going on. But
JT was on there.
Denzel
was on there.
Lathan
was on there. That's how we started this with Lathan.
Did Trey come on?
Trey came on.
Trey was there. Gosh, there's so many. There's 8 guys last year, 7 guys this year.
Talk about what they said, though, Bob.
What do you mean what they say? Who are the guys?
Right? Like I want to come on. Like talk about like Jack and those guys that were. So Jack and Mecca were like, dude, we want to come on. Like, can we come on like after the combine? Like, well, Ryan was like, listen, there's going to be more cruises, guys. Like, go dominate the combine, put your best forward, and guess what? Next year you'll be on the cruise. Plus, there's so many other events throughout the year. Hey, pop up at one of those things. But those guys from the again, it's the impact that they had on everybody in the ship, but on how the ship and what it is to be philanthropic and to be a Buckeye and how your presence can move the needle, right, Bob? It has gone from you and me taking our shirts off. I mean, oh my gosh, like Bob and I used to take our shirts off, going to the crowd. Hey, you're going to donate $1,000 right now. Boom, shirts off, right? Like, yeah, here we go. Charge it to winning. But now, those guys get to see how their presence impacts the giving that's on the ship, but also what they could do themselves. Guys were current guys that we have at Ohio State on the ship giving back monetarily. Just really cool to see.
It is cool. Like you said, the current guys are giving back, but one of the other, cool elements, I tell people this, like, about the cruise, like you want to come on and like interact with players and see them, what they're doing. And, we'll get to the singing thing in the next segment because I think that's probably one of the coolest things. And I've got a video of that. We'll start going through some of the pictures. We'll save the singing thing. It's one of the videos. There's just some of the stuff of Schlegs sitting down with Raekwon, just two old meatball middle linebackers having conversations and hanging out. But this is like what it is on the boat. Guys are just hanging around, and people will stand there and they'll say, hey, it's all good. Come on over, hang out, and everybody kind of hangs out together. And you have like access. You get to see these players as people. And it's fun for me to go because I get to sit there and, I'll do like some little 5-7 minute interviews with them for, kicking back to my radio show and all that stuff. And it's a lot of fun to be able to be involved in that and to sit there when we're not like after a practice or after a game or something and you're interviewing them, they're on the radio. Like, no, you're just sitting there talking about things that are going on. Like, hey, how cool was this? How much did it impact you? Did you expect it? And so the fans come up, and I was just talking today, Schlegs. I was just talking to Carson and Tegris and the offensive lineman, Seth, who was on the show with us, McLaughlin, who was kind of envious, by the way, because he didn't get a chance to go because he was, training for the combine and, he's doing all that and he's graduated right now. But just how what it was about, the people they get to talk to, the connections, like in the business stuff. These guys are smart. And so they're like, hey, we'll do this. We'll come on, the cruise again. And, a lot of the folks there, Schlegs, they've got their own, homes. Like, hey, if you ever want to use this or you want to do that, they've got vacation places. They go, if you're a good person here, man, and you're doing it for the cause, like they love this, this is great. So they're big believers in it. So that's pretty awesome, man. So everybody was pretty fired up about it. And it was pretty cool. And so those guys obviously were there. But like talking to Tegra today, talking to Carson, and some of the guys like, hey, like let's have a little business forum with it. But the people they meet, and Seth's like, who all goes? He's like, yeah, it's a lot of Buckeye boosters. But the thing is, like, we were there. We've been going. I've gone for 17 of the 18 years, and I still meet new people that have come on every year. And there was, a gentleman who's from Zanesville originally, served in the Air Force for a long time, had a staffing company that he had sold. Lives in Baltimore. Brought a couple of his friends, from Baltimore, Maryland, and they're like Terrapins and this and that. And they get there, like, I'm kind of a Buckeye now. Like this, like they're on the team, and I was actually emailing one of them today about it, and they're like, this was great. Well, hopefully you can come back next year and Gary brings you back because it was a lot of fun, and you really enjoy it a lot. So that's what's amazing is it continues to grow. And as people have, gotten older, you have different times of your life where you can't maybe go every year. It's been really great to see this group of people come. And then ultimately with that, like it continued to grow the huddle as well.
Yeah, I was going to add this to you, Bob, and I think this is really special. I want you to talk about it before we go to the break. But so we had Archie. Last year we celebrated Coach Tressel and his retirement, and everybody.
That was a short celebration, by the way.
I know. Yeah. Guess what? Not retired, Lieutenant Governor. but
That's
we
what I want to do.
celebrated
Schlegs. When I
Tris.
retire, like you want to retire and to be the lieutenant governor. That's the retirement everyone's looking
Only if you're Tress, right, Bob, as you and I have talked about. And everybody had on a sweater vest, and him and Ellen were there, and it was fantastic. And it was just a way of people pouring back into somebody that's poured into a lot of us. Like we talk about it on the show quite often, but how we can like show our support to Coach Tressel. This year was the 50th anniversary of Archer Griffin winning the Heisman Trophy, and they had a Heisman Trophy thing set up, like Archie's like trophy, like base. And shout out to Sean Perkins, Ohio State Athletics, who brings all this stuff on. Him and his wife Mandy have been doing it for a while now, and because the national championship trophy is there, the Heisman, et cetera. But to be able to have
brought that in this carry-on.
I know, exactly. So it's like, yeah,
Trophy.
do I check this? No, this is a carry-on, folks. But just to have all of the cruisers wearing the 45 jersey,
yeah,
and celebrating him and what he has meant to this university and all the things. Like honestly, Archie and Coach Tress are guys the best brand ambassadors that I've ever seen. And Bob, please go into more detail.
Well, Archie's like the greatest human being in the history of the world. Like probably right there with Tress. Because I watch Archie and we're watching this clips of him. And I go, man, they show the clips of me, Archie. I go, and I don't even think it's the same guy anymore. Like, I'm not certain that that's even the same person. It's like, it seems 20 years ago. I mean, man, it's been 50 years. He's like, time and change will surely show. Like, Archie like pulls out, pulls that out right away. I'm like, man, Archie, you were the man. You've been telling the same stories with the same passion and vigor. And people come up to you like, oh, Arch, remember Iowa 74 on the 3rd and 6, and you were able to shoot through there. Like they get in this great detail. I'm like, Archie, I can't even remember all my plays, dude. And you had way more plays than I did, and your plays were twice as long ago. Like, why don't you just tell these people like to go screw themselves and go hang out? Like, let me live and retire. And Archie's like, oh, come on, man. And he's like just so positive about it, like in all the stories. And so it just warms your heart. He is the greatest ambassador, him and Tress, for Ohio State. And they're both basically like the same type of dude when it comes down to it. But Archie was back. We all had the 45s on. And it was really cool to be a part of that. And this is the thing. I told some of the folks, Schlegs, that are in charge, he was downstairs and he was with our friend Gary, and they're like, oh, we're going to get a coffee. I'm like, man, you're not coming upstairs. Like someone hit me like, it's a surprise. I'm like, oh, all right, we'll see you in a little bit. Maybe up on the pool deck. Because I'm like, if you're going to have a surprise, you got to tell everybody that it's a surprise. Or else I'm like, Archie, why aren't you coming up to your own party? It's just upstairs. You're going the wrong way right now. You need to get your butt up there and talk a little bit about it. So, gosh, it's awesome. That was a great piece. I'm glad you had that. We threw that video up there. Him, I think he was talking to Paris Johnson, who's one of the young guys who I think, was this Paris's first cruise or was he on there last year?
I think this is Paris's first cruise. Matter of fact, I know for sure it's his first one. His mom was on there. His girlfriend was on there. Matter of fact, he tweeted out that he bought because the first day, Bob, I showed up in a gas station ready t-shirt. Paris absolutely loved that. He put it on the deal, Jailhouse Strong, XXX, going to Paris Johnson. But let me tell you something, guys. Like, first off, Paris is an enormous human. I mean, like
Carson,
he had to duck down.
Yeah.
As he walked around everything.
Hadn't really been around him, like Tegra and like Carson and Kenyatta, like the dudes, like, man, he is huge. I'm like, bro, he's like another realm of human being. Like they don't make, like he's like Orlando Pace style, big and athletic. Those guys just don't grow on trees.
And I'm going to say this, guys, side nugget, super juiced that Coach Fry is going out there because he's like, man, in the league, like they're not developing, they're not working on this stuff. And I'm going to tell you this, man, Paris Johnson Jr., man, is fanatical about the game of football. Like we're just sitting there, he's talking like how to set and post and all these different things. I'm like, okay, yeah. And he's like, he was calling Fry and like talking. He would call up Larry Johnson, side nugget. He would call up Larry Johnson when he went against like Bosa, and it's not like, let me get a little tell on them. He's like, but what do you say when they do these things? And what is that technique, coach? Like he's going on defense and offense, looking at within the league, calling back to his Ohio State coaches about how he can get a competitive advantage. I thought that was a great story, but it just is a testament to the talent that is produced at Ohio State and how professional our guys are when they go into the league.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And they're excited to get those guys reunited. I know that Fry is number one excited to coach a great young left tackle. That just makes him look good. Who's a great guy and highly coachable as well. So like you merge all that stuff together, Schlegs, man, it feels really stinking good. And with that, one of the things you brought up before we get out of here for a quick break is the fact that Archie, every time he gets up there, he always talks about how great his offensive line was, how great, being back there with Brian Baschnagel and Pete Johnson, and just all he starts talking about is his quarterback and Corny Green, all the guys, like names everybody else. And he's like, I would not have been the player that I was, without all of them. Like he literally deflects and goes to everybody. That's why you'll love to hear him. He's such a nice dude and such a humble man. At this point in his career. And here's the best part, Schlegs. When you win 2 Heismans, you get 2 50-year anniversaries back to back. So, like, you get the first one in 74.
Run it back.
Yeah, run it back. You get the 74 for 24, and then you get the 75 for 25 here coming up next year. So he'll get one more of those and get a chance to celebrate all of that. Maybe we'll do that again on the 19th cruise. And then on the 20th, maybe we'll actually get a chance to celebrate Tress's real retirement after he's done working for the governor's office after the next 2 years are up. And, I'm kind of salty because texting him and stuff now, it's not near as responsive. He's got like other stuff. He'll hit me like with an emoji back or different things, but he's got real life ultimately going on as well. But before we get out of here, I want to tell you about our friends over at Export. Attention parents and athletes, protect what matters most with Export mouthguards, trusted by professional athletes and designed by NHL team dentists. Export mouthguards are scientifically tested to absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. Export mouthguards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including a patented use of carbon fiber, custom fit to your own unique 3D smile. That thing's going to fit like a glove. That means more protection, better performance, max comfort, and clear communication, so you can focus on your game, not on your gear. Don't take chances with your safety. Visit exportguards.com/Bobby. Save 15% on your order. Export, protect what matters most. More of the Bobby Carpenter Show coming up next.
The Big Play Sports Network. Download the free app today to watch all of your favorite hosts on demand.
I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool, and it doesn't taste like... I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink Garage Beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer. All right, back on the Bobby Carpenter Show. One of the other cool elements of the Joe Schlegs is amazing. This is no joke. It says Joe Burrow just pulled up. Give me a minute. Our guy Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals, doing a great job there, and coming up visiting Schlegs. Everybody loves Schlegs. Train at the Armory. Train like a Buckeye. There he is. He's an empty suit right now. Pat, if you look in the Look in the chat. Here, pull the last thing up that I sent to you in the chat if you could. It's one of the great things of all time. We're just going to run the video of it. I'm going to explain to you something because Schlegs is, he's kind of like a mad scientist and evil genius. And he'll have the video of him, Pat, will be sitting there with his shirt on and a glass of wine. And many people know about the Arnold Palmer, the legendary Arnold Palmer, and his drink. He was the first to take the iced tea or have the lemonade and maybe have it cut with the iced tea, or the iced tea's cut with the lemonade. I'm not sure which is which he preferred, which was the solvent versus the solute. Well, Schlegs had what's called the Arnie Palmy. And so if you can sit there and watch the video, we'll play this. This is our guy Schlegs. When he really wants to get down to business, it's the Arnie Palmy. And it's one of the great things because the servers, they don't really like that. And that's the red wine with the white wine a little bit. Oh, there we go. Get a little bit of both in there. Yeah, there's the white on the red to really blend it. As you can hear Schlegs selling them or see him selling them on that. And it's not as good, Schlegs, as what you think. I think you enjoy it now because it's your drink. I don't know if you could sell that or patent it the way Arnold Palmer did, but the Arnie Palmy at night is one of the best.
Oh, man. Listen, guys. So the Arnie Palmy, man, I don't remember how many years ago it was, Bob, when we were doing that.
It was the first year we went on the new boat because the service was taking a while.
Yeah, it was like 3 years. It was 3 years ago. And let me tell you something, guys. The Arnie Palmy will straight up like catch up to you quick now. All right. Maybe because they're that full. But I was like, dude, listen, you got red, you got white, like you got a little bit of both, put them in there. Boom. And it was probably all those years of mixing snuff, long cut, Red Man Golden Blend, Skull, all at the same time. Whatever remnants you got, mix them in the deal, shake it up, pack it in, and like here you go. So probably my taste buds are fried from it because I can't cab, Sauvignon, whatever. Yeah, I don't know, Pinot Noir. I don't know, man. Like, what is it? Just put it in the deal, right? And I kind of like it cold. Like, I'd be more of a wine box guy if I drank a lot of wine, Bob. You guys have way better palates than I do, unless maybe they gave me some of that sherbet really to cleanse the palate, but nobody ever does that for me. So I just attack and dominate and did that. And we just did that as a celebration of previous years where we were mixing Arnold Palmer. You just got to get one. I think I only did one that night. I will say this though, side nugget. So it took me a hot minute, but they got to.
The reason it started, Schlegs, necessity is the mother of all invention. And Schlegs had some red wine. And the guy, they only had 3 years ago, the service, like, I don't think they were prepared for the consumption that was going to happen. And so 3 years ago, the guy was coming around with white, and Schlegs was like, it's been 20 minutes. I'm thirsty. He's like, he goes, no, sir, that's red. And he's like, I know. He's like, this is white. And, I forget. There's a lot of Filipino servers on there. So they speak good English, but they don't, like, nobody in their right mind would ever ask for white wine on red. And Schlegs was like, no, I'm not missing this opportunity. I need some booze. Put the white on the red, put it in the bucket. And so that's how it started, was the necessity, Schlegs, that you needed something. It could have been maybe some rubbing alcohol that you dumped in there. It wouldn't have mattered.
And then this year, like kind of, I don't drink a lot. Like I'm at the farm a lot by myself. I'm not going to have some there and just be that guy, right? Because I could easily go down the wrong rabbit hole. But if there is one thing that you want, and I had a really good outlook and mindset on this somewhat vacation, because we're always on, because we're always interacting with people on it, because that's what we're there to do. But there's this thing called the Salt Bar or Salt Kitchen or whatever. I don't know. It's on deck 4. And I go in there and I'm like, you know what? Listen, this entire cruise ship, I have not had one. This might have been like the 3rd night. And I finally found the bartender in there that was making some cocktails. I'm like, dude, listen, I need a spicy mark. My wife calls it a, jalapeno margarita, but I like to call it a spicy mark. I need one. He's like, what level? I was like, you know what? Like, you surprised me. He's like, I'm going to do a level 3. And I'm like, boom. I'm like, what was that? Like, what are we talking about? He's like, you want a level 5? I'm like, who doesn't want a level 5? I hit that one. Then I was like, is there more? He's like, are you sure? Drink some water. I pounded a water and he made me like a level 6. I was like, this is fantastic. I made one. Heck, me and Tom were drinking. He only stopped at level 3. But then I made a level 6. Kurt Coleman, the ultimate listen, guys, you need to go into this story, Bob. But Kurt Coleman is hands down one of the most competitive people I've ever been like had a relationship with. And his brother Kyle is just like so easygoing. And he runs all of Ohio for McCarty. Great dude. But Kurt was like, "Oh, I can do that." I'm like, "All right, cool, man. Level 6 for this guy too." And then Kyle came back to me and was like, "Dude, that level 6 messed him up, like his stomach." And he's like, he only had like a couple of sips of it. He couldn't do anymore. Soft ass. Next time I get to see him, I'm gonna say that to him in a very positive way. I absolutely love Kurt Coleman, but man, they were really good. Just like side nugget.
They were. It's the one thing, folks. It was Spicy Mark. I think I had a level 5. I don't know if I got the level 6 with you. Because they brought me one when we were over there talking in the restaurant, because they were delivering. This was like a private bar, folks. Like you go in there, it's like a little tiny speakeasy type deal. Like they're not serving drinks out of it. You go in there, you sit, you have like a craft cocktail. Most people aren't going in there to get whammered. We were going in there to party. And so they're making them, and the guy, it takes him 4 minutes to make each drink. So he made one for Schlegs. And I was like, and they brought it over to where we were sitting. He's like, "Do you want one?" The best part is they call me General Carpenter, which is a whole nother thing.
It's awesome.
Well, I'll tell you why in a second. Because "Do you want one?" I'm like, "I didn't know you guys did deliveries, but since you just delivered one to Paco Schlegs over here, I'll take one as well." So yes, they brought me that level 5. And when you're drinking at Schlegs, it's weird because usually something that's cold is going to cool your mouth. And I'm like, I'm drinking this faster than I need to because I try to keep drinking it because I'm thinking that it's going to cool me down, when it's really the problem. It's the heat that I was drinking, but I love them. And it was good. But yes, it got it delivered right in there. So that was pretty tremendous. And then the reason, Schlegs, why they call me the General is, I don't know if you've ever done this. Court and I did this when we set it up. She normally did everything else, but you're putting your name in, and you can put in like your surname of what you want. It's like, Miss Doctor, Mr. whatever. And they got like a list of like 20 things. I'm like, ooh, they got General on there. And this was like right after Pat. I'm like, I'm gonna put General Robert Carpenter in there. So when I walk down the hall, Schlegs, and all the people, General Carpenter, how you doing? I feel terrible. Like if there's other people that are actually in the military and serve, I didn't think anybody looked at that stuff. I thought it was like Mr. Carpenter. It is. Nope. It's General Carpenter all the time on the boat. And it's funny because I don't think they watch the McAfee show either. Most people that call me General are dudes that are watching McAfee each and every day. And so it's all good. These folks aren't exactly watching it, but it was pretty tremendous.
Well, here's the thing, Bob. Like, so everybody, there's theme nights on this ship. And the good thing about like Bob and I is that we have a plethora of costumes, and it's not cosplay, or whatever like people do in the confines of their own home. This is like in a celebration. So we have an outfit for every occasion. It was back on the big ship, Bob, where you and I had captain outfits, and we would walk around and the people there would be like, "Oh, hey, Captain. Oh, hey, Captain." Right. And then the real captain came out, and I think he might have been at a beer chugging contest when we were there one time. Not beer chugging, beer tasting contest sponsored by Roosters, which was fantastic. Oh, that wasn't Roosters. That was Roosters wing tasting, which is another story. When we have AJ on, we got to go back to that one. Now it's all coming back to me. But we used to wear captain outfits. And I think when we wore the captain outfit, nope, that was when we went to Kohl's and bought the women's section little pants. But I was wondering what we wore in the bottom for the captain outfit. But then we proceeded to wear those outfits like the whole week, like on the pool deck, everywhere, hat, no shirt on, but everybody knew where the captains were.
So I'll tell you this, the one year when we wore the captain Schlegs, the first year we did that, I'm trying to find a picture. I'll send that to you, Pat. We'll throw it in the chat as soon as I can pull it up. The one year we did the captain's outfits, we wore the white bike coaching shorts with them.
Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was.
I mean, I don't know how.
Man, you got a great memory, man. Your memory's like an elephant.
You know how I remember it? Is because Courtney goes, "You're ridiculous. Is you really going to wear those?" And I'm like, why would I not wear these? She's like, "This is the one with the capris on." But I was like, why would I not wear those? I'm like, they look like they fit the outfit. It's like the all white Navy ship captain. And so they're tremendous. with it all. But
Did
yeah,
you put that in the group chat?
I did. The pack can pull this up.
Oh my gosh. So classy. That was
Yeah.
the Capri year because we had this like green shirt that we wore with the Capris on that one. And now I know that
It
you're
had a
putting in
lace
that group
top.
chat. I've been
It had a
putting them in
lace
the wrong
top
group
like
chat.
yours. Had that lace top like your hoodie now, except it was like a big wide scoop neck because
Yeah.
they're all clothes were bought in the women's section. I mean,
So hot right now. Kohl's, man. You had cold coupons. Let's
Kohl's
go.
cash.
Back in the day.
Yeah,
Back in the day. You can
if you
find
want to
anything
throw
on
that
Amazon.
up, Pat, throw up the picture of the captains there. It's I mean, we've got I probably have one with the bike shorts on it, but yeah, there's a lot of weirdness that
Yeah, now I'm throwing stuff in the group chat, guys. This is going to be amazing. And hey, you guys in the YouTube channel, you guys throw in your questions because it was made. You know what? Hey, I'm gonna throw this in there too, Bob. We also had a wives deal, like some of the players' wives, girlfriends, and it was just cool. Paris Campbell was on the deal, guys, like Super Bowl champion. Look at that picture, Bob. Throw that one up.
hold on.
That's amazing.
So that's it right there. I just put another one in Schlegs that actually it's only of me talking to Laura and AJ, but it is featuring the white bike coaching shorts, which I bought on Amazon when I was helping coach with my dad. And I was telling them that our team is soft, our high school team. So I go, we're going old school football. So I rolled out to a game with the white bike coaching shorts on, hat, whistle, like looking like, your dad circa 1986, because those are the best coaching deals ever. But yeah, that was back when we were getting that done. And lots of fun, Schlegs, lots of fun. All right, we got to take a quick break. We get some more stories, some more of the Buckeye Cruise. We'll talk about the players, hit some of those pictures, and we'll talk about some of the guys, the Buckeye players as singers. Probably didn't see that coming. But we'll hit that here coming up next on the Bobby Carpenter Show. All right, welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show. We've got Schlegs just threw some more pictures in there. We do. Let's throw some of those up. Now we're not even into this cruise, Schlegs. We're into Ghosts of Cruise Past, and there's the team shorts. I don't know if you have the one, Pat, you can throw up of me with the bike shorts on, talking to
So
Laura
good.
and AJ. It's pretty amazing because So Schlegs, there it is. I had to wear
Beautiful.
white tights underneath it because Court's like, you cannot wear. I was thinking about just going commando. She's like, that's like a wet t-shirt for dudes.
It is. It
as
is.
pants.
It
So
is. I'm not judging you, but like every other, I mean, the funds would have been rolling in on that cruise ship, Bob, if we would have done that. But it was somewhat inappropriate to have just the bulge coming out when you could just see, the vascularity there. So it was kind of slightly inappropriate. I'm happy you did wear the bike shorts under there.
yeah, so I had to wear the tights over the bikes. If you can notice, Laura was leaning in. AJ had to smack her hand because she was getting ready to put it on my leg because there was just so much there that it was so exciting. It's like a magnet. Like you just can't keep the sexy off of it right there, Schlegs.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. What's the next? Hey, Bob, where's that one of you on the bike that we were in there? So
okay. Here we go. So one of the great things that we get to do is we sell auction off tables to opportunities for people to get involved in other cruise related activities. So we have the Hawks Locks event every year, and we have different themes for that. And so one of the themes that we have is this year with the Hawks, it's Halloween. I guess they're doing what, singers? Is that the thing? Like old school singers?
I hope not singers because I already want to be, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Well, Why were
Maybe
we
he
Elvis?
sings. Maybe he sings. He does say something to a Slim Jim.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But
Oh, yeah.
why would we have the Marilyn Monroe? We should have been listening more during the lead-in instead of just dancing around and selling the table. But yeah, Pat, if you can find that picture of Schlegs and I of the deal, so we're trying to auction off a table for for Hawks Locks,
Hawks
Scott's
Locks.
Tots, Scott's, yeah, whatever. But it's anyway for Hawks Locks. And so I don't know, Schlegs, what has it been? 10 years that we started dressing up for this? Like we had the Gadsby one and you and I had dresses on.
Look at that.
That's
So hot right
Schlegs.
now.
That's me and Schlegs behind me. And I think I put another picture in the group chat of me and Schlegs side by side, if you will, where he is, you can really see him being Marilyn Monroe in his full glory. Gosh, it's really beautiful. At least there's one of you by yourself too.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, guys. So we go back there, and every year, like there was a Great Gatsby, and they had, things where we had to wear these dresses, and we had like the little things, we had like the little hat on and stuff like that.
There it is, Schlegs. Look at that beauty.
And it's so beautiful. And then one year was like a Hawaiian themed deal, and we were wearing coconuts and like, dancing around. Does AJ dress up for this, guys? No. Why? Because it's his event. So this year, they're like, hey, we got to sell you guys got to go up there. And I'm like, cool. I don't even know what the theme is. I think it's going to be somewhat appropriate. I get down there second. Well, I didn't know there was a guy and a dude thing there because I really wasn't saying well, of course, Bob, he gets there first. So what does he pick? Elvis. I get there second. So what do they have left for me? Not a choice of an option. They just had this wig and this dress. They're like, well, charge it to winning. Let's sell tables. And then once you've sold 5, they're like, hey, I need that 5th table. I'm like, hey, I'm up here in a Marilyn Monroe dress. We're going to get that 5th table. Let's go. Guess what? Sold 5 tables. That's how it goes. Everybody has a role to play, Bob. We all got to play our role.
Well, I mean, and that literally is role play, Schlegs, because you're dressed up in a Marilyn Monroe. That's what I was trying to think what that theme could be. I mean, is it like 60s or 70s, or is it, singers or whatever? But it was awesome. You're locked on in there, Schlegs. And that's always the thing. When they call your name, you want to get down first because you want to have options and you want to have choices. Second person, Schlegs, this early bird gets the worm, second mouse gets the cheese. But in that situation, you want to be the early bird because the early bird's getting his choice of worm. And he's like, Elvis, or I'm like, dress? I don't even want to know what the rest of the costume is. Let me just be the dude. And here's the best, Schlegs. It was, that thing is probably maxed out at a dude that's 6'2". Like I had to bend down and they're pulling like because it's like a onesie. They're pulling over my shoulders. I'm like hunched down, trying to like get up and stand up. And then as I stand up, I'm like, hopefully I don't have male camel toe and like it's all like riding up my crotch. But I was barely able to slither into that thing. But they got the table sold. It's a great deal. Oh, I got this, Schlegs. I brought even this. I brought it back home. The auction packages booklet. Maybe we'll go over this some tomorrow in the show and all the good stuff that's there. Thank you to the sponsors and just everything else that's in here. All the goodness for the week that I didn't really look at outside when I was there, but it's a lot of fun. Go Bucks, beat cancer. All the folks that are sponsoring stuff in here. It was pretty tremendous and pretty awesome. All right, we're long for a break. We got headlines coming up next.
Welcome to Big Play, the fastest growing sports media company in America.
I'm gonna keep it straight with you. The reason you should watch our show is because I look good, baby.
Come get some!
Join our millions of fans for live sports talk shows hosted by the top former athletes and sports personalities in the industry.
Ohio, it's my home state.
Obviously, I'm a diehard Cleveland sports fan.
Watch what you want, where you want, when you want. Welcome to Big Play.
Make sure you tune in.
I love you, Cleveland.
All right, welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show. We've got ourselves some headlines, and one of the headliners of this year's combine, and most hopefully the NFL draft as well, is our guy Travion Henderson. Rolling pretty good there, Schlegs. Rolling in the deep, if you will, if you're Adele. To see how he was able to run out there. What are we doing? You got?
I was playing something. That's something for later. That's for my my last thing out. But anyways, yeah, keep going. Ready.
Well, let's you tell me more about Trey. We can throw that up there, Pat, and Trey at the combine.
First off, Trey ran like, what did he run? A 4.43? I don't even have to go look at the deal. He reached 23.38 miles an hour within 40 yards. And really, guys, you're not even touching max velo until 30 yards to 70 yards because he could go faster. We saw what he did on that screenplay. But again, what a great showing. And then throw up the next one because it says Q at combine numbers. And this goes back, guys. Like, this goes back to, we had already, been talking about the greatest running back duo at Ohio State. Two guys that had over 1,000 yards. Remember, I think it was the first time ever, Bob, that a school had 2,000-yard rushers and 2,000-yard receivers in a season. Crazy talk. Now, granted, they're playing a lot more games now than they did in the past, but the facts remain the same. Look at Q's numbers, okay? So Q, boom, he ran a 4.48. Now, I say all this because let's not also forget, guys, that they played a national championship on January 20th, okay? So you have to go train, bless you. You have to go train for the combine. So they had 4, because you had to take a week. So you got basically like 3.5, 4 weeks max that you're preparing to do this, like getting the starts and all of those different things. They're good enough, right? So then he goes and he jumps. He also jumped 11 feet. Guys, 11 feet. Like, that's amazing. That's amazing. That is 100% power into the ground. One of those great KPIs that you have in the weight room, by power output, had an 11-foot broad jump. Like this, Q had great numbers. Trey had great numbers. Guys, their growth's going to go really, really high. And how awesome it was. And just think about I guarantee you, like, they're texting each other, and when they see each other, like, what'd you get, man? 4.43. 4.48. Would you jump, bro? Whatever. 11 foot. So anyways, it's just great to see.
It really is. And that's all of our headlines for today, folks. Get your questions ready. Throw them in the chat. We'll get you fired up here. I said we were gone for a week, but we're back. We're ready to go. So get your questions ready with some tailgate talk coming up next on the Bobby Carpenter Show. All right, so like first question for our tailgate talk coming at you from our guy Steely Matt. Who do you think will get drafted first, Trey or Q?
Guys, it's pick whoever. I think Trey will go first. Because of what he can do out of the backfield. And I'm not saying that Q cannot, but I think just with his home run ability, because here's the deal. Look at Trey. Like, Trey and Q, number one thing that I look at of how they block in the passing game, how they block for each other, phenomenal blockers. I think that Q has probably seen more of that power back, whereas Trey might be more of that total 3-down back with a change up with somebody that might be a more physical, like straight ahead runner, though he could do it. But being able to be utilized in the passing game, I think gives him the edge on where he could get drafted first.
Very interesting. Then we get one more here. Keep firing away, folks, because we'll save some of these. We'll use them tomorrow if we don't get to them today, because there's a lot of draft questions coming up since we're fresh off the combine. Lunatic Fringe, which Buckeye goes first overall? I think it comes down to either Emeka or Josh Simmons. There's not a lot of elite receivers in this draft, and there's not a lot of elite left tackles in this draft. And I think those guys are near the top, probably a lot of people's boards for those positions. Those positions are highly coveted, especially that left tackle position. So I would say probably either of those two.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bob. And another question in there was, how does Josh's injury affect his? Well, I was going to say, no, Bob. It goes into the question as to who would go first. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only reason I bring that up, because guys, I think I've heard that he's ahead of schedule, and
he said he's going to do some work at Pro Day, I believe.
And you know what though? The only reason I say that, Bob, is let's take you. Last game of Michigan, break your freaking ankle. I watched Olin and his magical hands work on you and tap, like sucking out the bad blood and all this stuff through you. And I don't necessarily, it probably impacted you a little bit, but I don't know. I just think at the league level, guys, when you're looking for who it is that you want, those things all get taken into consideration, but it's more about the fit and the instant impact. So if they feel that he's ahead of schedule and that he can be there game one, they're more likely to take him if he's a fit for that organization in a need. If not, and those guys take somebody else, then he will move back predicated upon that. That's all. But I agree with you, Bob, as those two.
Yeah, it's. I think it'll impact it probably some, but I think those are the two guys right now. I think that next tier, which there's a question coming about that, we'll get to that tomorrow. And anything else you want to throw in there? We'll make sure that we get to it because there is some really good stuff and a lot of things from the combine. Like I said, folks, we apologize we weren't here. Thought we'd kind of talked on the shows. We had the Buckeye Cruise coming up, and it's just tough when you're in the middle of sea to get functional internet that is ready to go. And we had a lot of commitments as well, and sometimes you have a couple of cocktails and some drinks, and so things maybe don't operate quite the same way. So we appreciate that. We're going to close up our tailgate talk right now. If you have any other questions, fire them away so we can have some stuff loaded up for tomorrow. And now we're going to close with our parting thoughts from Mr. Anthony Schlegel. Coming up next.
The Big Play Sports Network. Download the free app today to watch all of your favorite hosts on demand.
I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage Beer. Beer flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool, and it doesn't taste like... I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink Garage Beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage Beer. Beer flavored beer. There we go, Schlegs. Get your parting thoughts.
Oh man, I just saw your face because I'm in the YouTube doing jink, and it just like you're like, oh my gosh, Pat, throw that up. So, guys, this is interesting, and where everybody's on chat boards.
The fact that I put this stuff in here and then you steal my posts.
Hey man,
I sent that to you.
I know, but that's why I want to close this because it was so beautiful, Bob. And here's why I brought it up, because you got the Buckeye Cruise going through my mind. Me and Bob did morning juice from the sauna on the ship. And then his phone overheated. It was like, oh, hold on there, boss. We're out. And then Bob was like, do hard things. Cause I was like, man, I want to get out. He's like, no, we're going to do it for the whole timer, which is another 17 and a half minutes, which I appreciate the fact that you timed that. Then we wrapped it up. Once your phone cooled down, we wrapped up the segment of the show. But new study finds that friends who often playfully insult each other are 300% more honest and loyal. What a great stat. So, hey, guess what? I know you guys, now I know why people throw shade at us. It's not because you don't like what we're talking about, or you talking about some guy said my goofy ass hat or whatever, take that off. No, man, you're just having playful insults. And so now we're 300% more honest and loyal to each other. Love it. Now I get it. I got it. Perspective. I appreciate everybody.
Buckeyes. All right. We appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow here on Friday on the Bobby Carpenter Show.